advice on Today, sponsored by Boots. With you for life.
Now we've invited pharmacist Donal O'Sullivan into the studio to put a spotlight on women's health issues from fertility, bone density concerns and overall female health. How are you, Donal?
I'm very well, thank you, Sinéad.
Oh, it's such a good accent. I could listen to him all day. Although I did confuse it earlier when I met you. I was like, that's a lovely kind of a Cork accent. I was very
I'm the
corrected.
South Kerry accent and we have the West Kerry accent, so you're surrounded, Sinead.
I know, I actually am. See, when you say Sinead, then I should have known, but you hadn't said my name earlier, so that would have... I would have figured it out then. But anyway, very important things to talk about here today. Donal, talk to us about overall health.
The best thing any of us could do, I think, Sinead, is go on to the RTÉ player and watch Super Agers. I don't know if you saw the programme.
I have.
But if ever there was a programme that showed the benefits of exercise and positive social interactions for our health, that programme is worth watching. Now, in addition, if you get your 78 hours sleep a night and a good balanced diet, and then if you're not feeling in good health, get a checkup with your doctor.
And should men and women look at, say, overall health in the same way, Donal, or should we be tweaking it, say, for men differently and women differently?
Well, we'll say take energy now regarding fatigue. A woman might be getting fatigue due to menopause, and just to be aware that 5% of women have an early menopause under 45, and that could be a reason that there would be a more difficulty. And then take osteoporosis. So you had a good question for the public there that once you go over, was it the age of 50, that women have a 1 in 2 chance of breaking a bone due to osteoporosis, and it's a lot less for men. It's 1 in 5.
Yeah, we also have another question here, Donal, about overall health. Do you feel tired throughout the day? And 85% said yes, and 15% said no. That's a lot of people.
Of tired people,
a lot of tired people.
Yeah. So it's important to get a checkup from your doctor because it could be due to menopause, could be thyroid problems, could be in relation to your iron or vitamin B12 levels. But a person to look after themselves, their lifestyle factors. So your exercise is going to make your heart and lungs more efficient. And if you look at your nutrition, taking whole grains, that can increase your body's sensitivity to insulin to get the release of any energy at a steadier pace than in contrast to sugar that will shoot up your energy and it goes down fast again. And then keep yourself hydrated, avoiding alcohol, reduce your stress levels by positive social interactions and getting your 78 hours sleep. That's very restorative in here.
Not possible when you have a toddler, though.
I know.
Just saying.
You're on a different...
I'm on a different level at the moment. If I get a few hours sleep, I'm laughing. So it's different at the moment, but much appreciated. Anybody who can, sleep, please.
If you can.
Donal, if we go on to our second topic here, which is medical screenings. These are very, very important, aren't they?
It is, for sure, because early diagnosis is the key. So you have breast screening for women in their 50s and 60s. You have cervical screening, where they're looking for HPV virus, which causes 9 out of 10 cases of cervical cancer and maybe abnormal cells in the cervix. And then for the general population, you have bowel screening for people in their 60s. And if you have diabetes, there's a diabetic retinopathy, they screen for that also. But early diagnosis, that's the important thing, Daithí.
Is the key, certainly is.
Fertility is a big issue for a lot of couples. Donal, talk to us a little bit about that. Well, actually, I'll tell you one of the questions we did ask the public was, do you think about fertility health before conceiving? And of the people that got back to us, 29% said yes and 71% said no. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't...
I was
in
amazed.
The other direction,
I was amazed with that figure too, Sinead, because I suppose people should be aware that lifestyle factors can have a bearing on your fertility. So today is International Women's Day, so if we look at it from a woman's point of view, ovulation can be affected by being overweight or being underweight or excessive exercise, excessive stress, your thyroid malfunction. Maybe it could be interfered with fertility by sexually transmitted infections or smoking, cannabis, cocaine, overuse of even over-the-counter anti-inflammatory drugs, all those things. So a person should get a checkup with their doctor if they have concerns.
And even though it was 29% said yes, that's still 1 in 3, Donal, too, isn't it? Like it's still a fair amount of people. Like who think about this and like say, what should people be doing, Donal? Okay, they sit down with their partner. They say, okay, we want to have a child. We need to put a plan in place. What should they be doing for them?
So regular sex 2 to 3 times a week, that's very important. Now, some of the recommendations would say that you would involve your doctor after 6 to 12 months, depending on the woman's age and that. But a lot of people now would be involving the doctor a lot earlier in the journey so that it would increase their chances of getting pregnant. And this isn't just something that the woman should be going for a checkup. Sometimes it's the woman that takes all the responsibility, but the men should do it also.
Certainly.
And then you can talk to your pharmacist about supplements or ovulation kits or sperm-friendly lubricants. And we've spoken already about different lifestyle factors that can have an impact on your fertility.
Because when you think about it, according to the HSE, it's 1 in 6 couples have a difficulty with fertility issues. So that's a lot of people.
It's huge, Sinead. And there's a bit of a taboo about it. You know, people sometimes are a bit slow to go to their doctor because they feel embarrassed about it, or you know, it affects their self-esteem. But they should just be aware that this is something that's very common. We're constantly seeing prescriptions in the pharmacy from doctors, you know, helping people. And there's a lot that the doctors can do.
They can check your hormone levels and all that. Yeah,
there's a term here as well. I think a positive future fertility journey, because it can be a journey for lots of people.
It is. No, it's normal that it can take 6 to 12 months. But you're right, it's a journey, and it's a stressful journey, Daithí, and it's a vicious cycle then, because the more stressed you are, that can affect your sperm count, your ovulation, your relationship with your partner, your sex drive.
Yeah.
So it can be a very difficult time for people, but there is help out there.
You mentioned a little bit just at the start about menopause and about bone density as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I suppose we'll say osteoporosis is when your bones are getting a lot weaker. So all of us after 35, our bones are beginning to get weaker, but the rate of it in osteoporosis is a lot faster. And that has implications because it can lead to fractures of bones like the wrist or the hip, and maybe even a loss of height, or you know, you're getting a bit of a humped back because you're.
And even some of the breakdowns, let's say, when you talk about, say, breaking a wrist or a hip, and they'd be from a simple fall.
Exactly.
That if it happened 15 years ago, you pick yourself up at the ground and you get on with it. But because of the bone density, this is the problem.
And it can be quite dangerous because we'll say in over 65s, it's calculated that 80% of women can have osteoporosis. And if you break your hip and they can't surgically fix it, your mortality rate after a year is 70%, which is very high.
Can you imagine
so
the
it is a very
pain?
serious condition. So
it certainly is.
The pain of dealing with something like that in a day-to-day would be horrendous.
Exactly. So it's important that people talk to their doctor, because you have DEXA scans and lifestyle factors that a person can do to decrease their risks.
Donal, as always, Guramila, great to have you on the show as always. You know, if you have any health concerns, always check in with your GP or your pharmacist.
Health advice on Today, sponsored by Boots. With you for life.